Hey guys, we'll give a few more minutes for some folks to roll in. Hey Fan Tuong, Marcio, SBG, Ricardo, Egbertina, Craig, One Change. How are you guys doing? We'll let some more folks filter in. Ray Run, how you doing? Can you guys hear me clearly? Hey AA, Captain Caveman, Jay's XRP, Crypto Cruise, how you guys doing? It is a rainy Saturday here in Hoboken, New Jersey. Although it's a bit warm for winter, it's going to be like 50. So can't complain, but you got to be stuck inside because it's downpouring outside. If it was actually colder, I think we'd be getting a significant amount of snow, and I'll probably be having to shovel snow. Awesome. SBG, Ricardo, One Change, Claude, DP Cohen, Mr. Ariman, how you guys doing? Joe Lenz. Awesome. It's great to have every one of you. Got some topics to go through today. We'll let some more folks come in. Nigel, hey Tony from England. Nigel, awesome to have you, man. It's so cool that we could do this and you have people around the globe and you could chat with them. That's pretty cool. Great to have you. Captain Caveman says, nice in Florida. I wouldn't mind being in Florida right now. I know a buddy of mine is actually down there, and I have family down there as well. And yeah, if only I could, when I become rich off of crypto, I'm going to buy my second home in Florida and different places, and I can go down in different seasons. So in the wintertime, I'll go down south and spend the time there until it turns to spring up here. Craig Heaton, UK, awesome. Steven Haytone from the Bay Area, awesome, man. I love the Bay Area. Mr. Simpson says XRP is dead, baby boy. Is it dead? Why is it still on the market cap then? Why is it still holding the number 3 position? I've heard it's dead. I've heard it's been this and that for years. I got in the market in early 2016, bought at low prices, made some money in the bull run of 2017, and I'm waiting for the next cycle. So don't move by emotions, move by facts, guys. XRP meows in Delaware, cool, not too far away from me. XRP underscore crypto trip says, are we getting rich? I certainly hope so. Obviously, we're dealing with probabilities, not certainties, because there's no certainties when it comes to investing, right? Whether you're investing in real estate, stocks, or whatever it may be. But you look at the probability. How high of a probability do you have the potential to make a good return on your investment? And with crypto, because we're so early, we do have a high probability. We're in before the masses, before all the mainstream folks. So it's like getting in early on Amazon or Google before the rest of the mainstream recognize what was going on. So that's personally how I look at it, and I don't want to miss the Google and the Amazons of this tech revolution, because the last tech revolution, I was still pretty young, which was the dot-com boom, and I didn't necessarily have the funds to go and buy a ton of Google stock or Amazon stock. So I'm not missing it this time around. Okay, I think we can get started. It's 2 p.m. So we got about 83 people in here. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I really appreciate you taking the time to join this. And we're going to go through some topics. And I, of course, want to answer questions that you guys may have. So first, let's take a look at the market here. Not much going on. We got some sideways movement. Bitcoin at $8,351. Ethereum at $161, XRP at 22 cents. So you have some red here from a 24-hour perspective, but some sideways movement. Now, if you recall, when we were at 9,200 or so, I did a live stream, right? Bitcoin, I think it was like a Saturday night. Bitcoin hit that price, and I said, hey, we're due for a big pullback, and it might be a $800 to $900 pullback, or even $1,000, and that's okay. You're gonna have your run-ups and your pullbacks. Don't get caught in the small weekly cycles, because you'll just drive yourself nuts, right? You gotta zoom out and look at things from a bigger perspective, because these are tiny little blips. What matters is the trending upwards, which we have been since December 2018 when Bitcoin bottomed. And I'm using Bitcoin as the threshold here because the market right now moves a Bitcoin. That's just the facts of it, right? We haven't decoupled yet. We're a very young market, and this is how it is at this point. So let's see how the coming weeks play out. Some people were saying because today is Chinese New Year, you might get a dump. I don't see anything. Who knows what could happen, right? But I personally didn't believe that. I was just saying what it seems to be the sentiment, and I want to let you guys know the sentiment that's been going around. So, let's see here. Yeah, no other major callouts, guys. It's just a normal sideways movement. So let's talk about a few things. I know some folks were a little bit annoyed by my video yesterday that I did about, Ripple IPO equals XRP dead. The reason why I did that was not for clickbait for you guys. It was for the FUDsters, because there was tons and tons of FUD starting to be spread by folks. And they're saying, oh, XRP's dead. Ripple's about to do an IPO. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about? So I figured I would go in at that angle, but bait them in and then show them the facts. That was my logic. So hope you guys didn't get too offended or annoyed by it, but I saw some comments, some folks were, so I apologize. Not my intent to, scare people or whatever, but more to address the FUDsters, because when you watch the actual content, it's giving the facts of, hold on, you need to think about this. Put your thinking cap on, right? And I didn't want to, answer some questions and see what you guys also think about it. Personally, and, from my background of in different business circles and the current industry that I work in, I've seen a lot of IPOs. I've seen a lot of mergers and acquisitions. Even my own company I work for, I shouldn't say my own as if I own it, but the company I work for, they did like 3 acquisitions within the past 2 years. So these are normal things in businesses. And what a lot of people may not be able to compute is that, Ripple is a company. It's not like, let's say Ethereum, where you have the Ethereum Foundation, not necessarily a company, but more of a foundation. So a company is going to look to build as much as possible, generate as much revenue as possible, and profit. And now Ripple is a very transparent company. They put out their quarterly reports. They have major investors. They're working with the government, the IMF, and so forth. And they're looking to build an ecosystem around XRP. So I believe the IPO, as I stated in my video, will bring in cash and resources and brand building and exposure that's going to be beneficial for XRP, because one of the things that a lot of the FUDsters say is Ripple's dumping on you guys every quarter, right? That Ripple's dumping the XRP as though they're dumping it for the sake of dumping it, but they're not. They're cashing out some because they need the funds to operate the business, to build the ecosystem. Now, if they didn't have transparency, I would say you have a legit argument, but they show how they use those funds to invest in companies via the Spring Initiative, and even just building out different things, opening up a Washington, D.C. office, things like that. You need working capital, right? Now, because they've been getting the funding via Series C funding, and if they do the IPO, they're not going to have to rely on selling XRP. And once again, selling XRP to actually fund the ecosystem. So you got to really think about it from a business standpoint, not just crypto, because you have two avenues here. There are 2 parallel roads that are running along each side. You have the digital asset aspect, and you also have the normal business, processes and things like that. So let me see if anybody has any questions around that, the whole IPO stuff. I'd be curious, and maybe I'll answer some of that. But if not, we can talk about a few other things. Ray Santos Crypto, thank you so much, man. You said at least buy one single XRP token and diversify. Just one? Thank you for the $2 donation. I appreciate that. Yeah, guys, it's interesting. The the IPO I think will be beneficial for XRP, because it's just gonna bring in money in a different avenue, and which I think will give Ripple the ability to go up against like Swift and many others and continue to do what they're doing and building the ecosystems and relationships and partnerships. Invest in companies like Coil via the Spring Initiative to drive micropayments use utility around XRP. So these are the facts you gotta really dig into and register and keep in the back of your mind, because a lot of folks don't really read and go through all the details. I'm not saying everybody, but some folks are just on the outside like, oh, I want to make some money. But you have to know what you're investing in and what's happening and how is it happening, and really wrap your head around it. So those are my thoughts. I hope you guys understand. And on this channel, I like to show the facts, who's investing in what, what is Ripple doing with the money and all of that. And they've been transparent in their recent Q4 2019 XRP report. It was actually very detailed. I told you guys to read through it, right? Remember, I talked about it, and I said the big part of it that I really liked was they ramped down on sales on XRP, but the money they were using anyway was to build out liquidity in EMEA and the Asian countries. So remember how that cash is being used, and that's why I'm bullish on XRP. And just as a reminder for folks who may not like XRP for whatever reason, I'm not a maximalist for any coin. I'm bullish on multiple things. I have Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm very bullish on Ethereum. We're going to talk about it today. VeChain, of course, basic attention token. My top three are obviously here, and I will continue to accumulate in the dips with the top three. This is not financial or investment advice, of course, guys. So that's just my thought process there, guys. And I also shared this, this week, and in the video I did, that Bitmain is also going to be seeking an IPO, and they're the biggest Bitcoin mining company, guys. They're huge. They build like the Bitcoin mining technology and the mining rigs and all that. And they're not going to be the only one. There's going to be more. And you're going to see exchanges do IPOs. Coinbase can do an IPO. I believe eToro. So many others. So expect to see this. This is not going to be just for a handful. A lot of companies are going to do IPOs, but it's going to be groundbreaking, guys, because think about it. You're going to have these companies do the IPO, but they're also connected to a digital asset or crypto. So that's going to be a very new grounds that's going to be broken here, unlike anything we've seen historically, right? Amazon did their IPO, and it is what it is. That's their service. But when you have a digital asset, which value can go up, it's like you have your cake and you can eat it too, right? It's like the cake and the icing on top. It's very, very interesting. And I think a lot of these companies like Ripple are going to be super rich. And, I do plan to invest in the Ripple IPO if I can get some stocks in that, certainly. Because I believe Ripple is like the new Google or new Amazon. It's a disruptor. It's going to be a payments giant. Like Google's a big giant in the search market, right? In the search engine market, and Amazon for retail, online retail, or Netflix for video consumption and things like that. So that's just my thought process. And I like to approach these things factually from a business standpoint, not emotions. There's a lot of emotions in the crypto market where people are like, this coin is better than this coin and that coin. No, let's be professional about it. Let's just think about things, avoid the name calling, and really just look at the facts and dig into the details. Let's see here if there's any. Claude Fejin said, what's about Sia Coin? There are no news at this time. Invested here too. Yeah, I haven't heard too much about Sia Coin. I do have to do some follow-up research. I got in a Sia Coin very, very cheap. So that's why, some of these cryptos you see here in red are the ones I'm not investing in or buying more of, I should say. I'm holding the amounts I have, which I got in cheap, and I'll cash out in the next bull cycle or bull run. So just to give you guys some transparency there. So like I said, more IPOs to come. So certainly expect that. Some interesting news here, guys. And once again, I hold Bitcoin, so I'm not against Bitcoin, but I am realistic about Bitcoin, right? That its utility is not great. I think anybody these are the facts. Slow, scalability wise, transactions per second doesn't match up to what the other cryptos out there. However, the Lightning Network is being worked on, and I'm hoping it can be built out well so it can improve Bitcoin's utility. But we also heard about Taproot, which is Bitcoin's privacy and scaling tech upgrade. And it said here just took a big step forward. So it looks like you have some developers who've, the Bitcoin core contributors are working on some upgrades here, but they got to move fast, or Bitcoin's utility is not going to be great. Now, Bitcoin's main use case right now, based on the facts now, is just as store of value, and I still think that's enough for it to make you money, and that's why I'm still holding my Bitcoin, because a lot of the big players are building financial products around it. You see the CME backed ErisX, so I can't ignore that. When you look at Grayscale's investment portfolio, the majority is Bitcoin. The institutional investors are putting into Bitcoin, so I can't ignore those facts, right? I just said I'm about the facts, so I'm loading up on still on Bitcoin in the dips where I can, even if it's like put $100 and grab some right in the dips. That's what I'm doing. But it's good to see that the developers are working on some stuff here. So a privacy and scalability upgrade that could turn out to be one of Bitcoin's largest to date has passed a couple of milestones that were little noticed outside technical circles. On Tuesday, Peter Woolley, if I said his name right, a Bitcoin core contributor and the brains behind the update known as Taproot, submitted a work-in-progress code change to GitHub in what's known as a pull request, showing the code is ready for more developer eyes. Merging this is obviously conditional on getting community support for the proposal. It's open here to demonstrate the code changes that it would imply, he wrote. So let's see if they can actually get it done, because what's happening in the Bitcoin, even the Bitcoin world, is you have a lot of divide, right? Bitcoin SV and Craig Wright and all these guys, and there's a lot of infighting. So hopefully they can get it resolved. And I would love to see Bitcoin's utility at least improve, via the Lightning Network, but that's still a ways off. Some of the Bitcoin maxims are going to be like, hey, it's working. Not globally, not for the everyday man that can go, do it. It's working on some levels, but not fully yet. It's not. You need companies like Square, which I believe are working on it, to go live, and a lot of different merchants and payment processors to adopt it in order for it to work. So we got to be realistic about it. But it's good to see there's some hope here that can improve its utility. But right now, I think the main thing is the store of value, is the hedge asset against other world economic issues and other assets as well. Let's see here. Short and weird talks. First stream I've caught from Thinking Crypto. Congrats on the 36,000 subs, Tony. Here since 15K. Thank you. I appreciate that, Short and Weird Talks. Thank you so much for the support. You've been here a long time. So I thank you so much for that. Okay, so let's see here. So Ethereum, guys. Ethereum is my number 3. I am very bullish on it. And why am I bullish on it? It is, the most trusted smart contract platform out there, and a lot of decentralized financial services and products and things are being built on it. And we continue to see, companies are launching different things on the Ethereum network, and they're moving away from proof of work to proof of stake, if that's not already done, the upgrade. I always butcher this, but Liechtenstein regulators approve Ethereum-based real estate fund. So another fund here being built on the Ethereum blockchain, and the tokens ERC20. So being an ERC20 token standard means the company can readily integrate with a growing decentralized financial ecosystem. So I'm always looking for real-world adoption and utility, and Ethereum is a solid bet. And a fully regulated tokenized real estate fund has been approved by officials in Liechtenstein, and it looks like the name of it is going to be Argo Security Tokens. So the Argos Global Real Estate Fund. That's interesting. So we're seeing more and more of these type of use cases popping up for Ethereum. So that is why, guys, my top three I continue to load up on, because XRP and Ethereum are getting the real world adoption and partnerships and use cases. Bitcoin will, because it's original, continues to be that store of value to hedge. So that's just my thought process. I'm also diversifying to reduce the risk in my portfolio as just a investing principle. I believe all three will do well, and I'm going to continue to buy up the dips, but not financial investment advice. You guys should do your own research, of course. So that's interesting. Now, some news I think I may have shared earlier in the week, but I thought it was interesting. Ethereum Classic, if you guys recall, they suffered a double spend attack. I think it was last year, and which is really bad, right, for a proof of work. But Grayscale says they're going to continue to fund Ethereum Classic developers for 2 more years. So my thought process there in having my Ethereum Classic is I'm not going to dump it, even though it had that issue. It's just in the next bull cycle, I'll make my profits there, but I'm not buying any more of it because I don't trust, it's too much risk. But, I hope you understand that I got in at the low prices, and I want to at least make my money back, or make a slight profit off of it. So I think because of the branding Ethereum attached to it, Bitcoin's going to be the tide that raises all boats, so to speak, where Bitcoin moves up significantly, the entire altcoin market moves up, and I'm going to cash out my Ethereum Classic. But I'm surprised that Grayscale is going to continue to fund this. I don't understand it, but hey, I might make some money off of it, so that's good. It says here, since 2017, Grayscale has donated a total of $1.1 million, including $338,000 in 2019 to the cooperative, which funds development of the protocol behind the 15th largest cryptocurrency by market cap. So, but Ethereum Classic suffered that double spend attack, man, and that's not good. So we'll see how things play out for it there. Let's see here. So this is some interesting news that came out. Digital asset exchanges are the crypto industry's biggest employers, research shows. So no surprise, because there's tons of exchanges that are popping up, and that's a good sign for us as early adopters. The on-ramps are being built around the globe for different fiats and different ways to access and buy crypto. And we see traditional financial companies and related to stocks and other assets, such as Robinhood, started adding support for crypto. So this is great. And, a lot of them are going to do mass marketing, and you're going to see more and more of them come in. And competition is healthy for the market. It means it's going to be lower fees, better security, because no one wants to get left behind. No one wants to be the bad apple in the space. So this is great. And we're going to see that there's going to be other companies like Fidelity and so forth are going to be the ones really hiring a lot of folks around over their crypto talent. And we saw that, if you guys recall, I think it was 2 streams ago, I showed you guys on LinkedIn, Fidelity's looking for Bitcoin mining engineers. You got MasterCard looking for a blockchain crypto VP, which is crazy. And so there's going to be more and more of this. The hiring, the acquisition of different companies and poaching of talent and all that. It's going to be interesting. Friendly reminder, guys, and I know this may not be the hugest news, but it is very interesting. But I'm still blown away that the World Economic Forum, report, the Insight report here, Central Bank Digital Currency Policy Maker Toolkit, that this talk highlighted Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. It shows where we're at, guys. It's amazing. It's amazing. Really think about this, that at Davos and the World Economic Forum, we have world leaders, Trump, Steve Mnuchin, people from different countries, the biggest of the biggest there, central banks, IMF, and they released this report talking about stable coins, talking about cryptos, currencies, global available cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stable coins, MakerDAO, Tether, Paxos, Gemini, and obviously crypto assets designed for interbank or intrabank payments and settlements, Ripple XRP, JPM Coin, most relevant for wholesale CBDC. So, I mean, it just blows my mind. It blows my mind, and I've been sharing this with people who are still doubters about crypto, like who say, "Oh, this is a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme." They don't recognize the disruption that is taking place and the new tech revolution here, guys. But these are the signs you want to look for as an investor in crypto to know, hey, is this for real? Am I investing in something that's legit here? Guys, I mean, everybody's talking about crypto now. IMF, World Economic Forum, Bank of International Settlements, Facebook wants to build their own thing, right? I'm waiting to see what Google and Amazon are going to do. Most likely they will eventually adopt it as a payment. So if the Google Marketplace or whatever it is, Google Play Store, Amazon, of course, as a retailer, it will start accepting crypto. I think eventually that's going to happen. But let's see if they try to launch their own token, right? Amazon could totally easily launch their own token, like a Prime token. I think I did a video about that like a couple of years ago. You have a Amazon Prime token. I'm an Amazon Prime member, and if I had that token and you can use it in different ways and they reward you for using it, man, they already got the customer loyalty and the customer base to really launch a token that would really shake up the market. It would be interesting. Let's see here. Why don't we answer some questions? So if you guys have some questions here, XRP Freak says Ethereum Classics is a guaranteed loser. Well, you're not too far off. That's why I said I'm not buying anymore. I'm just waiting for the next bull run to dump it, honestly. Let's see here. Dan Crowell says Google and Amazon will launch their own stable coins. Hey man, it is certainly possible. Certainly possible. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. Yeah, if you guys got questions, throw them in there, and then we can talk through some things. Josh H had said, how many think one XRP will be worth more than one share of if the IPO of the Ripple IPO? It's interesting. It all depends, and I've said it, guys. The regulatory clarity. Honestly, I think that's what's holding XRP back in the U.S. Because remember when Brad Garlinghouse said by the end of 2019 he's going to see major banks using XRP. Now, to a certain degree, that his statement got fulfilled, but it happened in the EU and in like Japan, but not in the U.S., where I think he was counting on regulatory clarity, and unfortunately, the U.S. is slow on regulatory clarity, and I know some congressmen and Senate and congresswomen and senators are trying to make a push, and some are coming up with different bills about cryptocurrency tax laws, and I know Hawaii. Just this past week, we heard about a bill being introduced to let banks custody cryptocurrencies. So there's little sects of the Congress and Senate that are trying to make moves because we're seeing bipartisan support, but we need more folks to get on board. We need the SEC, we need the CFTC, and it is just slow as hell in the U.S., man. It's so annoying. I love living in the U.S., but man, I wish they would move faster on this. D-Buck says, first time in your live stream, Tony, thumbs up. Thanks, D-Buck. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Yeah, any questions, guys? Curious if you guys have any questions and we can answer them. Something I want to keep an eye on is Kelly Loeffler, who, of course, was the former CEO of Bakkt. And she, of course, left her position there to go be a senator in Atlanta, Georgia, and then she's going to be part of the committee that oversees the CFTC. So there is some conflict of interest that's being talked about, but man, we got somebody who's pro crypto in there, and I'm curious to see, what she can come up with. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. This is the other thing I'm paying very close attention to. This is big because Dude, it's so funny. Her husband owns the Intercontinental Exchange, which owns the New York Stock Exchange. She was the CEO back, and now has a political power seat. So let's see what she can get done. Let's see what she can get done, especially if you're overseeing the CFTC. And it's going to be interesting. Let's see here. Geo XRP say, didn't they incorporate both Ethereum or Ethereum Classic supposedly to help with ETH efficiency, calling Ethereum 2.0? You know, I believe they did something along those lines. I'll have to double check that and get back to you. But maybe they may be trying to do some merging there to make Ethereum more of a powerhouse, to your point. Ricardo says, hey, Tony, when did you get into crypto? Did you make some money in the last bull run of 2017? Yeah, I did. So I got in 2016 because a friend told me about some stuff. Like he made some money off Ethereum. And so I had bought up some Ethereum XRP and Bitcoin. And I made some money in 2017. Not as much as I would liked. I should have listened to my friend and bought earlier. I still kick myself to this day. Like, I should have listened to him and bought up more, man. I would have done pretty well in 2017, but I did make some money, so I can't complain. But I could have made a lot more. Let's see here. Nathan Brown says Andrew Yang is pro crypto, who is endorsed by Elon Musk, who's also pro crypto. Yeah, I think a lot of new candidates and folks are becoming more pro crypto. So by the way, I'm going to be interviewing let me pull her name up here because I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to be interviewing someone who's running for Congress in Nevada. She is pro crypto. Yeah. Lisa Song Sutton. I'm going to be interviewing her, guys. So hit that subscribe button, right? And with the notifications bell set up, she's an entrepreneur and Bitcoin ATM investor, and she's running for Congress in Nevada. I'm going to be interviewing her in the coming weeks, so I'll have that interview up for you guys. We're seeing more and more of these political candidates are on board for crypto, and it makes sense, right? And some of them are maybe a bit more on the younger side, but there's still a lot of older politicians. Like you have Warren Davidson, Darren Soto. Warren Davidson's a Republican. Darren Soto is a Democrat. They're both for crypto, and they both put together the Token Taxonomy Act. And you have Tom Emmer and a few other folks. We need more of them. We need more. We need more to go in there and beat the drum in Congress. Let's see here. XRP number 1 says, I bought before the 2017 bull run and didn't sell any. Well, you know, obviously not financial investment advice. Remember, markets move in cycles, guys. You got to zoom out, right? You really, really got to zoom out. And remember, the people who made money in 2017, who made real money, are those who bought maybe in 2014, 2015. They had to wait a few years, right? So you got to be patient to go through the market cycles. And you know, if we just look here at the Bitcoin chart, if it will load, you'll see the market cycles, the patterns that repeat at a higher scale. Come on, load. You know, you had your tiny little bull runs up here at that. You know, it's all relative, right? Because if you got Bitcoin in the dollars or even the pennies or whatever, going up to 1,000 was significant. I mean, come on, right? And then you had your pullbacks, and then your bull runs, your pullbacks, your bull runs, your pullbacks, your bear markets, bull runs. Obviously, 2017 was the biggest. Now we've gone through our bear cycle. It has some correction along the way up, and I think we'll keep going back up. Past performance is not an indicator of future performance, of course, by principle, but we're looking at probabilities, not certainties, and that probability of it going back up in a similar cycle is certainly has a high probability, especially with the halving coming up for Bitcoin. So keep these things in mind. Zoom out and you see the bigger picture. But you look at these things, they span many years, bear and bull market. So you got to keep that in mind. It can be a 6-month thing for you. Maybe you get lucky and come in at a certain point when a bull run's about to start. But still, I think 90% of us are going to have to endure the long-term cycles. Let's see here. Vet Bro says thoughts on new BIS head Benoit Cortez statements on cross-border payments. Yeah, I mean, I think all of these guys recognize now, to improve the movement of money and cross-border payments, you got to adopt a new technology, which is digital assets. Obviously, Ripple is a big part of that, and they are working with the BIS. They're working with the IMF. So those are the facts, and I think they have a big chance of grabbing a hold of that market share. Will there be competitors? Of course. Will Swift try to compete as best as possible? Of course. Competition is healthy for every market, and even the U.S. I know they tried to stop monopolies as much as possible, so there's going to be competition. Let's see here. Ralph Raymond. Hi, Tony. Got to admit, I was really disappointed with the negativity Maddie Greenspan showed towards XRP after being on your show. Yeah, Ralph, I talked to Maddie about it, but this is where you have to do your research and know the facts. Sometimes people put their emotions into things, and they want to believe certain things, and maybe by nature they're pessimists. Not say they're bad people. And I like Maddie. Maddie's been on the show multiple times, but maybe you just hope that eventually, as facts come out, that they eventually change their mind, and you'll be proven right. So it is what it is, and just keep sharing the facts with them. Empire says, what coin do you believe has the potential to enter the top 3, or will the top 3 coins remain for years? So that's a great question, Empire. Let's see here. I think Ethereum, I think the top 3 is going to hold solid for a good amount of years. Let's see. But we'll have to see, what some of these other projects, maybe Cardano, if they are legitimately looking to really do some good stuff here, I think they can really enter into the top 3. I'm looking to Chainlink. I'm hearing some good stuff about Chainlink, possibly Chainlink, but I'm not saying like next year, but maybe it's probably 5-6 years from now. Who knows, right? That could happen. But I think the top 3, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, are gonna hold it there for a while. It's gonna be the status quo there for a good amount of years. Let's see here. Geo XRP says, Tony, what do you think about investing in MoneyGram stock with lots more corridors open? Yeah, so obviously this is not financial investment advice, but I am thinking about the MoneyGram stock because Ripple is going to use it very much as a chess piece to really one up a lot of the like Swift and so forth, because MoneyGram has the existing infrastructure set up, and you just got to really tie in Ripple's technology and XRP into that and those rails, and it's good to go. And I think once we get some regulatory clarity here in the U.S., it's going to open the floodgates. So I'm certainly thinking about that as well. Saeed says, so Tony, can you tell me how many XRP do you have? Unfortunately, I can't. I'm not going to do that, and I don't recommend you do that to anybody. We should all not say how much. Now, I broke mine out in percentages, but this doesn't mean anything, right? In a sense of you don't know the actual counts that I have, and I don't recommend you guys do that. When it comes to money, and people know, how much you're holding and all that, especially if you're making it public, it's not good. It's not good. Let's see here. Anybody else have any other questions? Any thoughts on any of the stuff we covered here? Obviously, the Bitmain IPO, Bitcoin's Taproot, potential scaling, tech upgrade, Ethereum, continued building on the Ethereum blockchain, bullish on that. The weird funding of Ethereum Classic by Grayscale, but one of you guys mentioned, like it could be Ethereum Classic merging with Ethereum and to make it much better. And continual hiring, and the majority of hiring is being done by digital asset exchanges. It says here, Ahmed Ali said, do you think the IPO will affect XRP in a good way or a bad way? So we talked about that, Ahmed. No, I think it's going to be good because part of it is in being fully transparent, Ripple has had to sell some XRP right from time to time to fund the building of their ecosystem, to go market, to hire the right talent, to go buy part of MoneyGram, right? These are things that they kept working capital that they need. If they do the IPO, they're gonna have cash coming in different ways that they don't have to touch the XRP, but just use that money to build the ecosystem for XRP. And plus it gives them more exposure as a brand, and even XRP as a digital asset. So let's see here. Geo XRP says, Tony, I'm sure you have an XRP exit strategy. Care to share? Yeah, I mean, like, I have some stuff broken out in a spreadsheet of what points I'm going to cash out on, because you can never call the top of any bull run. It's hard to do that. So you got to cash out in phases. So I know at like, okay, $5, I'm going to cash out this amount. At $10, I'm going to cash out this amount, and so forth, right? And it's all respective to what your needs are financially. But that you got to cash out in stages, because you can't call the top. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm going to wait for it to go to this. And then it starts tanking because it's going to correct, right? So that's the game we got to play, and you got to be careful. You got to be smart about it. Gerald said, Tony, will Cardano be a competitor of Ether? I believe so. Right now, Ethereum is far ahead, though. And Cardano has a lot of work to do to catch up. Digital Asset Conductor says, Tony, what do you think of Zap? Zap, I don't think I've heard of that, unless I'm mistaken. Zap? Yeah, I don't think I've heard of this or even checked it out. I don't even know what it's about, honestly, but I could take a look at it for sure offline. XRP number one said, Tony, what is your first cash out price for XRP? Probably around $5. Not a lot, but when it gets to 10, I want to do some more, and then likewise scale it up from there. Tony says, thoughts on Raven Protocol token and Rune Torchain token. Tony, unfortunately, I'm not well versed on those. I would have to research them before I say something. I honestly don't know much about them. There's a lot of coins out there, so I would have to research them. MG says, Tony, are you investing in the stock market too, or just crypto? So MG, I'm doing some light stock market investing. Like, I am doing some, what do you call it? Tesla. And of course, I'm looking at some MoneyGram too, and I definitely want to grab some of that Ripple stocks once they do the IPO, of course. Let's see. Simon says, no link in your portfolio. Link is something I am researching, Chainlink and the others, so still researching those. Stooley73 says, thoughts on Elixir? Chris Larson has invested. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I have to do more research around that, guys. Honestly, I haven't heard much about it, and maybe Chris knows something we don't, but yeah, that's something I got to research and see what's going on. Let's see if I missed any questions. Ahmed Ali says, Tony, what do you think of Litecoin? So I have Litecoin in my portfolio. I am not buying any more Litecoin, just to be clear. The items in red here, I'm not accumulating any more of. I have what I have because I remember I got into the market 2016, so I got at cheap prices, right? I did continue to add, in the dips and so forth in 2017, even in 2018. But as of right now, I'm just accumulating XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, VeChain, and BAT. The others, like my Litecoin that I have, I'm holding on to. The reason why I'm not buying any more is I need to see a bit more, because I think a lot of us were worried about what Charlie Lee did. And I kind of get why he did it, but also the timing. I think a lot of people were like, wait a minute, the timing. You dumped when the market was correcting. I don't know. So I'm leaving it for the next bull run cycle up and then cash out, but I'm not accumulating any more of it. Let's see. Darcy BXRP says, no link. Sorry, Casino Coin and VeChain, Tony. Yeah, I got VeChain. I'm bullish on VeChain. Casino Coin, I still got to do my research there. I just don't jump into things because somebody else says it. I got to do my research, and that's how I approach everything. Crypto Knight says, Tony, shouldn't XRP holders have been offered Ripple shares first during the IPO? It is a community and that help Ripple to get to the map. Not necessarily. And honestly, you have a security issue there, right? The SEC. So it's two separate things. And this is the new groundbreaking stuff that's happening. You have companies doing IPOs and they have digital assets. So it's going to be interesting. VetBro says thoughts on BIS head statements on cross-border payments. Yeah, I mean, like I said, VetBro, I think it's bullish for XRP because the Bank of International Settlements talking and working with Ripple. So they certainly see the potential to improve cross-border payments. So I think it's just going to be great for XRP just because of the Ripple connection, of course. Let's see here. XRP Lightning the Way says thoughts on Sologenic. So I am scheduling an interview with either the CEO or the CTO of CoinFeel, which obviously launched Sologenic. So it seems like something interesting because they're building on the XRP ledger, and I'll do an interview and get more details on that. So stay tuned for that interview, guys. Thumbs up, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure when you subscribe, you put the notification bell on. Something YouTube is not seems to be great with notifying people that a new video has gone live. So you guys may miss my content. I've seen people saying, "Hey, I haven't seen your content in a long time." And it's like, I've been doing videos, but you got to hit the notification bell because the YouTube algorithm is really funny sometimes. I think they just have like problems sometimes. I don't know what it is. Let's see here. Digital Asset Conductor says, Tony, have you looked into ICX yet? No, I haven't. Haven't heard about that. Crypto Knight says, Tony, any crypto card you prefer? Honestly, I haven't used any crypto card, man. I haven't used any crypto card, so I can't really say. I don't want to give lie to you guys. I don't want to say anything, endorse anything I haven't used. Honestly, I may try to test one out, but I haven't spent any of my cryptos or anything. I'm just hodling, guys. It's all secured. You know what I mean, on multiple devices. So that's just where I'm at. Long-term holder. Empire says, you still holding 10x a dead project? Yeah, so I bought 10x at dirt cheap in a little amount. So I'm not. I'm just waiting for the. Remember, I'm not gonna sell in the bear market. I'm gonna wait for the bull cycle, see what I can get from it. Right. So that's why it's in red. I'm not accumulating anything else. Excuse me, I'm not accumulating any of the items in red. So it's like, hey, I got in at very cheap, so I'm gonna hold on to it and see what I can make off of it in the next bull run. But as you can see, it's 1%. My profile is nothing. So any other questions, guys? I'll probably go for another couple of minutes and then wrap it up. Appreciate all of you joining in. Let's see. Like I said, not too much going on in the market right now because everything's just moving sideways. But it is what it is. Like I said, guys, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. Got a lot of interviews coming up. I'm interviewing John McAfee. You guys know Lisa Song Sutton. Also working to schedule something with the president of Bakkt, Adam White. But I most likely won't get to that till February. His schedule is crazy. And the CTO or the CEO of CoinFeel to talk about Sologenic. So make sure you're subscribed, guys, and with the notification bell. And if you haven't seen some of my interviews, man, you got to check them out. There's some good stuff here. Like I just recently interviewed the CEO of Dev Null Productions here. And they do XRP intelligence and analytics. So they review everything that's happening on the ledger. So we talked about like tons of Bitcoin, Ethereum and so forth being moved on the XRP ledger. Interviewed Cinnamon, which is a company leveraging XRP for micropayments. Lolly, which is the earn free Bitcoin for shopping. I've interviewed the GM, the USA GM of the North Americas, if I'm not mistaken, for VeChain, Maddie Greenspan from eToro, Caitlin Long, and the CEO of Bitwage, the president of the MIT club the MIT Bitcoin club, excuse me. So definitely check out my interviews, guys. That's how you learn about what these people are doing and building. And as an investor, you want to be as up to date, up to speed with everything that's happening. DM says, you still interviewing Kelly Loeffler? Not Kelly Loeffler, Adam White, so the president. I wish I could get a hold of Kelly, but she's maybe too high profile for me now. She's in the political realms, but definitely I'm in contact with Adam White and his team, and we're trying to schedule something. All right, guys, I think I'll wrap it up here. And Empire says Coinbase will IPO. Yeah, they're planning to IPO. When, I don't know, but they have talked about it. CryptoMo says, do you do any day trading? Nah, CryptoMo, I not my thing, man. I'm a long-term holder. I know, not day trading per se. I'll do some swing trading over the months and quarter and year. Like, if I know we, like in December 2018, buying some low, some going to my long-term storage, and some I'm going to cash out back when it went back up to 6,000, right? So make some nice, easy profits, but no day trading. Not for me. Let's see. All right. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, a lot of interviews to come. Working with Adam White from Back. Lisa Song Sutton, I'm going to be interviewing her. John McAfee, the man himself, the myth, the legend. I mean, if you follow this guy on Twitter, he is a character. He's at strip clubs and everything, throwing money and all that stuff, man. So get ready. On a serious note, I'm going to be asking him about what he said about Bitcoin, that it is the Model T, right? It's outdated tech. And I'm going to see what other cryptos, get his thoughts on XRP, get his thoughts on VeChain. I'm going to be asking him those questions. So you definitely want to be subscribed with a notification bell, guys. Thumbs up. And I'll talk to you guys later. And I'll try to do a live stream tomorrow as well. But we'll see how it goes. Thank you guys so much.